Hey guys, before we get started on this episode, we wanted to let you know that we are going to be starting March 1st. We will be having a Patreon, which will be linked in our description for our March reviews. And we wanted to let you know that we are going to get that started. And so you can kind of prepare, and maybe that's something that you would be interested in. And there will be different levels to accommodate everyone that is interested. And we hope that you guys check it out. Now on with the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of BS Drunk Movie Reviews. This is a weekly podcast. We do upload the video version to our YouTube channel, so please check that out. My name is Vetta, and as always, I am joined by my brother, Matt.
Hey, you guys.
And this is the first episode of season 4. It is February.
Yeah.
Happy 2023. And for this month's theme, because we liked doing themes last season, so we're gonna kind of keep that going, add some guests here or there. So our first episode, because our theme is Valentine's, or I should say movies with the word Valentine in the title. So our first movie this week is The Lost Valentine.
Yes, very lost.
So lost. All right. Well, before we get started talking about this movie, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking it's called the Valentine's Day cocktail. And it is it's just vodka with cranberry juice and then some other stuff added in, like grenadine and stuff like that. But instead of doing just vodka and cranberry juice, I decided to use a Monaco cranberry.
Ooh,
So I did that, and then I just added all the other stuff, and like you can add sparkling wine and stuff like that. So I didn't do a lime wedge though, but
that was supposed to be my drink for next week's episode.
Oh well, you can still do it. You can still do it. You can still do it.
It won't be as cool as yours because I didn't think to use a Monaco, and I'm sitting here going, that would be delicious.
Right on. It is delicious. What are you drinking?
So I made this drink called I don't remember what it was called. It was really bad. So I had to do the chug it down because you can't waste it. Like, you know how that is when you go to a restaurant and you pay like $15 for a drink and it sounds delicious in the description and you take one sip and your spouse goes, not as good as you thought, or whoever you're with, and you're like, nope. And they're like, so did I just waste $15? And just to prove them wrong, you're all
exactly. You're like,
nope.
Nope.
And everyone around you is like staring at you. I had to do that. Luckily, I was in the privacy of my own home.
Right.
So I went to wash down that disaster. I made a good old rum and Coke, and this is my second one, and it's the big glass today.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
You know, I like them big.
No little cocktails here.
Right, exactly. Naughty.
All right. So, did you watch the trailer for this?
No, I didn't watch the trailer for this. I was
okay.
As soon as it said Hallmark, I was like, I am so out.
I did not know that until I teed it up, and when I looked it up, it was on the Hallmark network, and I paid for the subscription, and I forgot to cancel it because I have daughters and they love watching Hallmark Christmas movies.
So does my wife.
I always pay for it for December, and I forgot to cancel it, so I still had it. So I watched it on there, and I was like, shit, this is gonna be rough.
Right on. Well, in all honesty, I didn't think it was overwhelmingly bad. I mean, it's just I do have thoughts.
It was so fucking slow.
It was, but and I just so you know Betty White. I don't know about you, but I love Betty White. May she rest in peace.
Much.
But are things this hard up for Jennifer Love Hewitt? This is the only roles she can get is Hallmark.
At that time, I think so. She was on Criminal Minds for a while. But then,
that's for like one season, and then she left because she got
like
preggers.
one and a half at most. Yeah, and then she left because she started having babies. I think, I don't know.
Because I think her character was preggers in that one.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Yeah, and she did that movie Ghost Whisperer, or that TV series Ghost Whisperer.
Oh, yeah.
She was
My
on
wife
that for
watched that. I never
years.
watched that.
And what was that movie where she got like, or that series on Lifetime where she got like super hot? She was like a stay-at-home mom, and she was
Oh, she was like a massage therapist, but
but
she like
really a
turned dudes
hooker.
off. I don't remember what that was called. I
I
don't. I
don't
don't
remember
remember.
what
I'm
I
not a
don't remember
Jennifer
what
Love Hewitt like fan.
my
I don't know
husband,
who, like a stan.
it's his like teenage college
Yeah.
crush.
I mean,
I
don't get
was
me
watching
wrong.
this movie and I was like, it's a blast from the past. It's
Mm,
your girlfriend.
right
Like
on.
teasing him.
Yep, right on. Yeah, no, I mean, I loved her when I was younger, would like party of 5 days, but
Yeah.
now I'm all like, I mean,
And why does Betty White look so old? Like this movie was made like 15 years ago. Actually, I think it was 10 or 11. And she looked younger last year when she was alive, like the last year of her life, than she did in this movie.
It's the camera. It puts on 10 pounds. Okay.
Does it add years too?
Yeah. Yeah, 10 years and 10 pounds. Don't you know the rule, Vetta?
Apparently I don't.
Yeah, how old are you right now? Like
Oh, I'm
55?
85, y'all. And I weigh 437
Amazingly, I don't look.
pounds.
What'd you say?
I weigh 437 pounds. Check out this gobbler.
Hey, amazingly, I don't look a day past 29. Look at that.
Boy, with that porn stash, you definitely look like you belong in the 80s. I was really hoping after, a while you would have said, but you haven't.
No, I kind of like it. I'm gonna let the facial hair grow out though. But look at it grows darker right here. It looks like I'm not shaving this part. We're getting off the subject, but I literally this is shaved. It just grows really dark right here.
It looks like you're gonna do one of those
the mutton chops.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm not. It just grows like that. It listen, I know we're getting off subject, you guys, and you can't see us if you're listening to our podcast, but if you're watching the video
just to check out his stash,
my hair grows so weird. Like this one grows in like an arch, and this one just grows in a line. It's like so weird. And I listen, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna let it grow and whatever.
It almost looks like you had a stroke and one side sags a little.
We're not making fun of stroke victims.
No, I'm making fun of my little brother. That's allowed.
Okay. All right, let's talk about this movie before we have too much fun.
Yeah. So the movie starts off with Betty White going into Union Station, which is whatever town she lives in, train station.
Which I have to go ahead. You go. No, you go. No, you go.
I was gonna say, do towns still have that nice of a train station? Because Chicago does. I've been to their train station, but like here, the train station looks just like the Greyhound bus depot. It's not fancy.
Yeah, the one that we have, it's more like modern, and it's nothing to write home about. Like, although I have to admit, I did like this part of it, how she went to the station and she saw she looked at that picture and she saw them in the background and everything. Yeah. She's like touching it, and I was like, oh, it's her taking a picture of her hubby and his friends, but no, it's like them like blurry all in the background, like hugging each other, and I'm all like, oh, there you are.
Yep. And then it goes into the flashback of 60 years before he's going off to the South Pacific.
Yeah.
As a pilot.
I have this down somewhere later on in my notes, but I just want to say, like, all the flashback, the World War II flashbacky stuff, I actually didn't mind. I was like, this is actually quite charming,
Yeah.
But when we got
I love how they pan to her shoes when he's getting onto the train. Like they needed that to be authenticated, that they went all the way down to the shoes. And exactly. I know they were doing the foot lift.
Yeah, exactly.
Still.
Yeah. I did remember that. Like, I was all like, what is this now? Who shot this? What are you trying to do here? This isn't Pearl Harbor 2.0. Get out of here with this nonsense.
And didn't you feel, I totally, like, as the movie went on and you found out why he was leaving, weren't you like, you dick, she's pregos? Because you find out later he volunteers.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I feel it. Like, that was a different time.
That was a big thing at World War II, that everybody was like volunteering to serve their country, but he was serving his country by teaching pilots to fly. So
right on.
I don't know why he thought he had the opportunity to serve his country and be at home with his pregnant new wife.
Right on. No, that makes sense, but like, I mean, I don't know, dude. Some people just have that sense of like, you know, that I don't know what the word is, but I'm too drunk to think
Yeah.
of it, so we're not gonna think. Anyways,
So yeah. So anyways,
can
he
I
is.
say though? Oh, what was
Yeah.
that?
No, go ahead.
Well,
I
I
was
love
gonna.
how she went there. She was like she went there every year, and everything. And I just want to be like, how long has it been, sweetie? I mean, I think the jig is up. He's not coming. He's not
But
coming.
my whole thing was he wasn't supposed to come home on a train. She goes every time when the train he left on is
Right on.
arriving.
Yeah. Like
So,
she knew, so she just went on that one day. She's like, oh,
right.
this is
Well, yeah, because she hadn't heard anything. He's, missing in action. So, uh, I did like the guy that comes and sits by her and is like, I was wondering when you were going to get here. And she's like, well, I can't miss his train. And I was like, oh, that's so
right.
adorable.
And yeah, it's like stick around, I'll be on TV in like, an hour. Anyway,
Yeah.
so like I said before, I did think that the story was touching, the Betty White part, like the flashback stuff, but um but what is okay, so when her boss comes to her, this is what I wrote it down for. When the boss comes to her and he's all like, I want you to do this story about this little old lady that goes to the train station every year on Valentine's Day. um I was like, I thought that the story about a little woman that goes to meet her husband that never shows up at the train station, I thought it was a touching story. What the fuck is Jennifer Love Hewitt's
I
problem?
totally was like, your character is a dick right now.
Right,
Your
like she's
character is
all
a huge dick right
and
now because that's an amazing story. And yes, it is just like the Japanese dog that sits at the train station
which
waiting. I love that story too.
yeah, I was going to ask you, do you know what that story is? Because I've never heard of that story at
I
all.
don't know the Japanese story, but they made a movie with Richard Gere, I think, where he goes to the train station and his dog waits there all day for him and then goes home with him. Yeah, there is a movie like that.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
just don't
watching
know if it's
that.
a real
We're not
Japanese.
reviewing that. Don't pick it
No.
unless our movie theme is dogs or something like that. Dog movies.
Yeah, but
Um,
then you're gonna pick like one of those ones where the dog dies 500 times, and I'm gonna
right.
get pissed.
And I love how the grandson is standing behind her, and I'm all like, did she just compare your grandmother to a dog? Smack her
I
now.
literally wrote, "Well, would you like to remove your foot from your own mouth, or just put it up your ass because you're screwed?"
Right. And how after she met him, like I don't know. Okay, like I wrote this down. I was like, did she want to jump Lucas's bones after meeting him, like right then and there? She was all like, uh, hi, how are
Yeah.
you? And everything.
Yep. There was that instant love at first sight spark connection, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Yeah. Which
Like
I'm
the
all
same
like,
thing Betty White had with her husband. That's what I think they were going for, like the mirroring thing. Because,
oh,
they met, were engaged 3 days later, and a week later married.
right on. Well, Lucas was pretty hot. Like he was a cool drink of water, you know what I'm
Oh, yeah.
saying? Okay.
Oops. Yeah.
So then she's like, I got to get this story,
Well,
which, by the way, what was the name of their program? Like Metal Grove or something like that? Can't remember. Like,
something Diaries, American Diaries,
we'll just say American Diaries.
something
What's
like
more
that. Yeah.
American Diaries than a woman that hangs out at a bus station for her husband? I'm like, honey, I don't think you know your job well enough.
Oh, but let's go for the senator that's
Exactly
trying to
right.
get reelected.
Right.
Wow.
So I love how when she goes to Betty White's house, by
Oh,
the
we're
way,
not going to talk about her party first, that dinner that
oh,
night.
wasn't that after though?
Was
I
it?
thought that was after she goes to meet Betty White for the first time. Can we talk about that after we talk about her meeting Betty White for the first time then?
Sure, it could be. I don't know.
Well, we
I
can
have
talk about it now.
notes.
Let's talk about it now then, and we'll talk about it after
No,
that.
go ahead. Oh, I burped while I was saying that. My bad.
Oh,
Sorry. Excuse me.
okay. So I just wrote, okay. So she goes to see Betty White, right? Okay.
Mhm.
And Betty White like answers the door and she's like, hey, I'm from, Good America or whatever it was called. Good Morning America. We want to have you on. And Betty White, I'm sorry, was a tad bit rude. Because she just shut the door in her face. She's like,
Had
I have a kettle
on the stove.
Yeah. And I'm all like, and well, didn't she say she's like, I have a hold on, I wrote it down. Her okay, she's like, I have a kettle boiling. and then she just shuts the door, doesn't even wait for a bye. And then when she comes I wrote down, old people don't fuck around. Like, they don't have time for your nonsense. There, she's shutting that door.
They're on borrowed time.
Exactly. She's all like, listen, Jesus is about to call any minute now, honey. I got to drink this fucking tea. Okay.
She's like, I woke up this morning and was like, one more day. I got 24 hours to get shit done.
Exactly. And then plus, okay, I as soon when she answered the door the second time, I was like, and it was like the kettle was like, I was like, honey, your kettle was not boiling until after the second knock. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You need to check yourself, Betty. Come on.
Well, she's staring over it, going, come on, boil, so I don't have to answer the door.
I need this bitch to go away. She's a party of 5 and I'm a party of 1. I'm not interested.
And I love how all Jennifer Love Hewitt has to do is say, and I can't remember Susan. All Susan has to say is, I know your grandson, Lucas. And Betty White's like, all of a sudden throws the door open. Is like, come on.
Yeah. In. That's the password. Lucas. I know. I said that. I thought the same thing. I was like, don't let her in. You don't know her. And she was all like, you're a friend of Lucas. That's not what she said, Betty. That's not what she said at all.
No.
But I was like,
knows him.
Yeah, I was just like, gosh, this would be such a different movie if it was like a big muscular man. And she's all like, yeah, just come on in. And then the next scene would be, Murder, She Wrote or some shit like that.
Or if Jennifer Love Hewitt was Lucas's stalker.
Right. Oh, that'd be, you know what? Now that we mentioned this, I want to see that movie, Lucas's stalker. Okay, now let's go to the party. Okay, the little dinner
like a
party.
Little dinner party with like what was her name? Julie, and
I don't
Andrew
know. I don't.
And
I was surprised her name was Susan. What a generic fucking name. Anyways, so okay.
The writer's grandma's name. Calm down. No,
I
don't know.
Is that real?
I don't know.
I don't even care.
I make up a lot of shit apparently.
No, it's fine.
So they're having dinner and her boyfriend doesn't really propose. He hands a ring and opens the box. And she's just super mad because he's like, is that a yes? And she just shoots out, well, you never asked a question. And then it goes to the next scene. They're in the kitchen arguing over he never asked her to marry.
I have to ask you a question. Whose side were you on in this argument?
I was on if you have to pause, you shouldn't be marrying him.
I wrote down for sure. I was like, she might as well have said no.
Right.
And which is so embarrassing. But I was on Jennifer Love Hewitt's side. Like, you can't be proposing in front of your friends like that. You need to read the room, asshole.
A shitty proposal. Like, they're just sitting there having a conversation and he just pops in with this, I'm making a lifetime taking a lifetime assignment. And I was like, you work for the Lifetime Network? Like, what?
Right. That's so funny.
Like, what is his job?
Right on. Which it took a while to get to his job. I was all like, he's like, I go to places, I take pictures. I was like, oh, that's your job. I was like, okay, well, I was confused. No, I was on Jennifer Love Hewitt's side because if it was me, I would have been like, hey, hooker, don't freaking ask me in front of our friends. You need to do that shit like in a private setting because this is an intimate moment. It just can't be just all this nonsense.
Well, and you actually need to say the words.
Right.
I mean, for all I know, I could say yes, and it's a promise ring.
Oh, for sure. Which, by the way, I just want to be, what was his name? Oh, it doesn't matter. Andrew, whatever his name was. Yeah. I just want to be like, listen, dude, she didn't say yes right off the bat. That's a hint. Okay.
And her face said it all. She did not get all giddy and excited because I'm like, I'm pretty sure, most women, if the word yes doesn't come out of their mouth immediately, they're so excited it's written all over their face.
Yeah, exactly. So, she wasn't crying. She wasn't all like, oh my God.
I know.
That shit. I was like, oh, dude, your relationship is your relationship is over. You just haven't realized it yet. Okay, you guys.
What the fuck was with him saying you keep the ring and think about it? That's a pretty good size rock there.
Yeah. I was all like,
and think about it.
Yeah, you can't let her keep the ring. But guys are like that. We just let them keep the ring. And I'm like, no, do not let him. That's a lot of money right there. Get your money back. Go buy something nice.
What is it that jewelers, and I'm convinced this is jewelers who made this up. No actual man decided that his fiance, wife, whatever's ring needed to be 2.5 months salary. Like, you're just going to walk away from 2.5 months salary? Like, that could be a lot of money. And I'm going to assume since you're traveling the world going, it's worth quite a bit.
Right on. Okay, so then right after this, is this when they go and they go to the veterans home?
Yes.
Okay, she's passing out magazines, which I thought again was very charming. Like, I'm like, I totally get why Betty White did this movie, because her character is just like so charming in this entire movie. I was like, Betty White, can I fall in love with you any more than I already am? I don't think so.
It doesn't matter if she's being royal bitch or just the bumpkin girl from Ohio, or she's being a widow. She's just charming and loving, she's just and
like, everything. I'm like, oh, I love you. I want you to be my grandma because you're just like, so great.
Oh my God, she's going and talking to other vets. Like, I don't think I could do that if my husband died in a war or something happened to him.
Yeah, right. Fuck you, you survived.
Talk to the survivor. Yeah. Bastard, you couldn't bring him back? What the fuck?
Right, yeah. And she was like reading about the New York Yankees, and I was like, oh, what I was like, oh, what a boring fucking conversation. Anyways, but they were all like loving it and stuff, and I was like, she oh, you're
made that cute.
Yeah, she did. I love her so much. She's so great. So and then I love how and then it doesn't so then after that she tells what's her face? Jennifer Love Hewitt, that she's gonna do the story, right?
Right.
And she tells the story of her and her husband.
Neil.
Is that his name?
Yes.
I wrote down some other stuff before this, but I'll get to it. I'm pretty sure we'll get to it at some point in time. Okay.
Yeah. Can I just say first, when she gets into the story, whoever picked the music for this sucked. The music
for sure
sucked. Like, I get that they were playing music from that time, but there's good music
from that time. Yeah, right. I feel you.
From the 40s, there's good music. And I feel like this person set out to find some really shitty tunes. So I wrote that down. I was like, oh, the music in this is something else. So.
Right on. No, I totally get what you're saying. Okay. So she tells this story. Sorry, I'm taking over, Sweet Pea. I'm not trying to.
You do that. I knew it was coming.
I'm sorry. What does that mean? You do?
No, you do that. I prefer that, actually.
Sorry,
way better.
I have bullet points in my notes.
So I have bullet points too. That's how I do everything.
I'm gonna let you go. No, I'm gonna stop doing that thing that I do.
I don't know where you're at. I might step on your toes. Go for it.
Okay, so she starts telling the story of her life, basically, with her husband. Now, at the beginning of this, she says that they put $100 down and then $50 a month for a house. I was like, oh, honey, you got that for a steal, even for back then.
See the house.
I mean, it looked like, Jason Voorhees' house.
And they fixed that bitch up fast.
Yeah, they did. Well, they were planning on having a yard full of kids,
that's why they needed the fence.
Well, all I know is I was all like, as soon as she said that, I was like, oh man, I would suck a dick to get that kind of price for a house, $100 down and $50 a month. Yes,
hell, I would just like an uncle that would sell me a house at a deal.
Right on. Yeah, no, it was great. And this is where I said in my notes that all the World War II stuff, the flashback stuff, was actually pretty decent. I was like, this is actually a pretty decent movie right here. It was just the stuff in the now time. I don't know what year this is supposed to take place, but it was that stuff was kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. So hold on. Okay. I don't really have an overwhelming amount of stuff to say about all the stuff that happened in the past.
The only thing that I really was like, man, that had to suck was when she was talking about when the Western Union telegram guy would come down the
yeah.
road. I was like, oh, because I've never that in that moment, I kind of thought about that and I was like, holy crap, that really has to suck. Because like in other movies, it's like they're driving in a car down a long, desolate road in the middle of the country. Like when they show that, they didn't ever, I've never seen it done in a movie before where it's like in a neighborhood, a condensed neighborhood, and it's a guy on a bike just with a bag full of shitty your husband dead telegrams going door to door or whatever. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah. as soon as I saw the little dude, it reminded me of that scene in a movie that we have from A League of Their Own. Yeah. When that woman when Betty gets her letter, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna make me cry. It didn't make me cry though, because I was like, this is not that hardcore as the girl that played a young Betty White in this movie was not as good as the actress in A League of Their Own when she got her letter.
Oh yeah.
So
Betty Spaghetti.
Betty Spaghetti. Oh my God, I love that movie so much. We should do that movie sometime. Maybe next month our thing will be baseball. It's not though. We've already decided on it. Okay.
Don't sign us up for something like that. I'm not a big fan of the baseball.
Right. I'm not. I don't do the sports. Like I can watch.
Watching The Sandlot.
Oh my God. Yeah. Right. I love The Sandlot. It's so good. So, okay. So after all that flashbacks, right? So she's sitting there talking to her. And then I wrote down Caroline. Is that Betty White's character's name?
Yes.
Okay. So Caroline, she's going, oh, can I say one more thing? Backtrack it like a while. When she first meets Betty White, she makes the tea right off the bat, right? For when she comes in. And then she's like, I'm going to get some iced tea when Jennifer Love Hewitt's talking to Lucas. I'm like, man, this old bitch really loves tea. Like a lot. Like I was like, don't get me wrong. I'll have a glass every now and then, but this is a lot of tea for one day.
Well, they're outside.
You
don't know how long Jennifer Love Hewitt's been there. Susan could have been there for hours. You don't know how quick Lucas was able to get over there.
Yeah, right on. I hate that her name is Susan. Wow, what an annoying name. Okay. So Caroline collapses, right? Now, I just want to say right now, when I saw this, I was all like, that's not Betty White. That is not Betty White. Because don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be mean to Betty White, but that woman looks taller and thinner than Betty White in this movie. And that is
if Betty White had to take a fall, she would have done it better than that lady.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I was like, that's not Betty White. That's not Betty White.
Yeah, I wrote that too. I was like, that was a really bad fall. I didn't write that was Betty White, but now you say it, I'm like, yeah, that woman had her arm like way up the railing and Betty White's short, so she would have had that railing right next to her.
Right. Yeah. It just looked like a I'm putting up in quotes stunt double, but just with a really bad wig. You know?
Do you think Betty was pissed and she was like, you need to do that again? She's shit at this. That's gonna make me look bad.
She's like, I can do my own stunts, everybody.
They're like, Betty, you need a new hip and you haven't gotten it yet. So
right.
No.
So right. So then, okay. So then what's her face? Jennifer Love Hewitt's character. So her boss, Craig, I wrote down Craig's name. Craig. He tells her that the story's over with. Can't do it anymore.
Dead.
Yeah, because we're gonna get sued by Betty White. And I was
too much. We've given Betty White a heart attack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so he makes her do the senator story, which is fine. I'm like, yeah, do the senator story. You know, Betty White needs to recover anyways. But she's all like, so she does the senator story, but while she's doing that, she gets some info about.
She enlists the senator to help her.
Yeah. And she finds a letter from some dude that was saved by
his son gives it to her.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hey, why don't you calm down? All right. Who's leading this podcast? Me. It's my thing.
It is.
Fucker. I'm staring her down, by the way, guys, if you're listening to the podcast.
You're giving me shady eye, shifty eye.
No, I have to be honest. So this part of the movie where Jennifer Love Hewitt is doing this like investigative reporting, I'm putting up my quotations. I didn't mind it. It's just, it really kind of bothered me that the previous portion of the movie was a part of this, and then the back portion of Jennifer Love Hewitt's character was a part of this, because I was like, if this would have been just like the movie with Jennifer Love Hewitt in it, I actually wouldn't have minded it. But I was like, it was just this one, like, what, 5-minute section that I was just like, whatever, it's fine. This investigative reporting, but the rest of it, I was just like, I'm not interested in this at all.
And how difficult was it to find Betty White at that time? I mean, they knew where Neil, because in the Army, everyone calls him Thomas. They knew where he was from. They knew he had a wife and a baby, and that his wife's name was Caroline, but this guy that's life he saved couldn't find her.
Right, exactly. Like, didn't we have yellow pages and like phone
he
books
was
and
in
shit?
The army. He couldn't have gone to his commanding officer or to HR, I don't know, and been like, hey, I wrote this letter for the guy that saved my life's wife. Can I get the address? I mean, his wife just sticks it in a Bible, hoping that someday God will mail it.
Is that what you call it?
God does a lot of work, don't get me wrong. But I don't see him licking stamps and sending shit to the post office.
Yeah, sticking it in a Bible, rubbing, licking stamps. Love it. I love your little double entendres.
Yeah, they get long and they get plenty when I drink more.
So okay, so I just want to say one thing. I wrote down in my notes, and this is probably being mean, but I don't care because I'm a mean girl. I love how they tracked it down to that little Filipino man, and his name was Meringue. And I was like, is he a pie? I know, that's so mean.
Can we talk about the book signing real quick, too?
Ooh, let's talk about the book signing. Dude, go ahead. I have thoughts, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have thoughts. Who the fuck has a book signing for a fitness book?
What's that lesbian's name? What's her name that does The Biggest Loser? Jillian Andrews.
Yeah,
I made that up. I don't know her last name.
I don't know either. But I'm like, I still wouldn't go get a thing signed, because you know what? As someone who, and he's a physical therapist who's doing this, but wouldn't you think the whole time, like, they're judging you? Like, here, sign this book. I've paid $19.99 for your book, and they are signing it going, bitch, you need to pay more than $19.99. You should take this and get a trainer. You're about 40 pounds overweight.
Right. And I love how I wrote down, of course, a bunch of MILFs showed up to this book signing. It wasn't going to be any.
His face is on the cover and he's hot.
He is hot. Yeah, I'd fuck him for sure. But Julian Michaels is her name. I do like her. Anyways, but yeah, no, I was the same thing. I was like, who would go to a book signing for a fucking fitness book? I know I wouldn't. I'd be like, I don't think you could pay me to go to one.
And Susan shows up at that. Wasn't she backing away? Like that whole, this is me backing away. I was like, what the fuck, girl?
Yeah, and she had the wrong book, and I was like, what's going on here? This is weird. Right. This is like
you were all looking around being all stealthy. Plus, she cut in front of people. It would have been better if she.
Oh my God. I wrote that down. I wrote it down. I was like, that bitch cut. I would be pissed. I would have said something. I cannot stand line cutters. I would have been like,
I have been standing there. You learn how to stand in line in preschool, bitches.
Yeah. I'd have been like, listen here, Jennifer Love Hewitt. You're about to get Jennifer Love hit to the face. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna kick you in the back of the kneecap and watch you tumble down.
Exactly. I did write down also that when she comes back from Meringue or whatever it was that she went to the Philippines to find.
She didn't go to the Philippines.
Whatever. You know what I'm
video
saying?
Chat. They Zoom.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
Well, wherever Jennifer Love Hewitt
went to Texas.
Oh yeah, wherever she got demoted.
Yeah, where she went to get the letter.
Yeah, I totally wrote down that Craig had every right to demote her because she
for sure.
Because she's
like butthead.
I'm taking vacation. And then she was like, a cubicle. And I was like, listen, bitch, some people would give their left nut for a cubicle. Like, count your blessings, hooker. Like,
it's not in the basement or a janitor's closet. So
or
down.
In the unemployment line. You know,
there's that too. He let her come back. She was all, I'm going to take my job back. No.
Right on. So yeah, okay. Okay. So then they end up, the meringue pie guy, he tells them the story about how her husband was, a hero. And I'm like, of course he was. Because how fun would it have been if he was like a total asshole and just like hooked up with some Filipino girl and just stayed there? How great would that have ending been? Like, wouldn't that have been such a twist? You're like, what? Todd is
9
alive?
kids in a village.
He's got like a whole Filipino family, like a mixed breed family. And you're just like, man, this is so, like, that would have been a story that I was just like, I'm eating. This is so good. I'm loving it. Okay.
How many? And that's a legit thing to think happened, because that actually did happen a ton.
Gosh, I would have loved that so much. Oh, that would have been like, oh, now that I'm thinking about it, that would have been so
got
good.
12 half siblings.
We need to redo this movie. We need to dig up the body of Betty White and just redo this movie because I feel like the ending could use some touching up. Okay.
Yeah. The ending was really sad and depressing. Like, it didn't make me cry, but it really went wow, Hallmark, you're really trying hard here. You're pulling out the stops to get my tears. And I'm not, but I know there are plenty of women out there with their little hot cocoa cup that says,
right.
chocolate and Hallmark is all I need this season.
Right. Well, yeah. They're with their,
not me, bitches.
Yeah, right. I know. Real quick, side note. I usually watch these movies with my wife. This was the one that I didn't watch with her. And she's like, I would have watched that with you. And I was like, I know you would have. Because it's like, it's a Hallmark movie. I love it. And I'm like there's I was like, no, I needed to get through this. And you would have cried. Now, when that casket showed up at the end, I'm not going to lie. I was all like, this is so sad. I would cry, but I just don't know how, I'm just like.
Yeah, I was like, I got I didn't cry. I did get a little like, I don't even want to say choked up. Whatever comes before you get choked up, like that little like empathy or whatever it's called.
It was the best scene of the movie. Like I was
it really was, because there were really a lot of like touching things with it. And anyone who's ever been to anything military related with a death, I mean, even if you don't know the person, it's an emotional setting.
It's pretty hardcore. Plus, I don't like funerals anyways. So once I see a casket, I'm like, I'm out and everything. Yeah. Okay. So then I'm skipping right to the very end.
I love how you see a casket and you're out, and I turn into, are you frozen?
No, I'm listening to you.
You were like this and not even blinking. And I was like,
go ahead, tell me. My piece.
You said you see a casket, you're out. I see a casket and I turn into Sally Fields from Magnolias, and I'm like, and people are like, I want someone to grab somebody and say, take a whack at Weezer sometime at a funeral.
Oh gosh, right. We should do that movie too. God, I love that movie so much. Anyways, okay. So they go back to the house, right? After the body comes home, right?
Yep.
And Caroline, she is gonna go water her rose bush that's dead, but she doesn't want to get rid of it because her husband planted it.
We didn't talk about that. So through the whole movie, so this rose bush, just to give people an idea, this rose bush was the rose bush in her house. There's a cute scene in one of the flashbacks where her husband's planting it and she sprays him with the hose and they play around or whatever, and then this song comes on the radio and they dance.
Yeah, Dream a Little Dream of Me.
Yes. So now it's at the end. Now you can go.
Okay. So Jennifer Love Hewitt and Lucas. I love how I don't remember. What was her name?
Susan.
It's so fucking generic. Okay. Anyways, the generic girl, they're like sitting there talking, and they're of course falling in love because it's a Hallmark movie. Exactly. And Betty White is watering her rose bush, right?
Yes.
And then Betty White gets the ghost of her dead husband to grab her by the waist, and she's all like sitting there.
One little rosebud on the bush that everyone's been telling her is dead, that she wouldn't let them dig up and replant a new one. She's like, just cut it back. It's still got life. And there's a little bitty bud on it. And then she starts swaying back and forth. And then it pans out, and who is swaying behind her?
Her husband, which they don't show his face. So I'm all like, oh, could they not get that actor back for that one scene?
Because that was my question too. Because when they were panning up, I went, before they didn't show his face, I was like, is he young, or did he age? Or
they just show he's got a hat on
when he died. Yeah, he's got the.
And Jennifer Love Hewitt and Lucas, the sprinkler comes on, and they're like, ha, 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 ha. They're all playing and running around or whatever. Here's my question for you, right? Because then they show like the sprinkler, the hose, and it's like fallen. Did Betty White die in this
movie? I thought that too. I went, like, are these two fuckers out playing the sprinkler and she's just died?
Dead. Yeah, I thought she had like it was like a what was that name of that Brian Gosling and Amy Adams movie? Is
The Notebook, where
The
they
Notebook.
died at the same time?
Is it that where she's like her husband came home and she died
because she can let go now?
Yeah. I was like,
I thought the same thing.
Okay, so good. You weren't the only one, because I was like, did she just die? And I thought the same thing. I'm like, these assholes are practically fucking on the front lawn, and the grandma's dead in the backyard.
Right?
I was like, so okay, good. I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
Yeah. And that's literally how it ends.
That is how it ends, with that song, which is a horrible rendition. If it's the first rendition,
terrible. Yeah. Like I said, this movie, the music, whoever did that needs to really get a new job.
Yeah, I love that song, but I've heard better renditions of it. I'll tell you what.
I was like, that was the shittiest way. I mean, I would have been happier with the Hallmark movie ending in the train station with his body coming home and her crying on the casket.
Right. Yeah.
Than the way it did end.
For sure.
Like, fuck off, bitches.
I don't have any more things in my notes to say.
I don't have anything else to say either. My question for you is, would you recommend this movie?
Well, yeah, I would say yeah. Like, listen, it's a Hallmark movie, so you know where you're getting into, but it's not bad. Like, that's the thing. Like I said before, all the flashback stuff is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, the flashback stuff was pretty cool. It was pretty well done, and I would agree. It's a Hallmark movie, so you have to know they're trying for the tears.
Right, for sure.
And there's always the random two people meeting that will eventually fall in love.
Yep, the little meet cute.
It's definitely got the formula for a Hallmark movie. So if you're into that, and I think it's from like 2010, 2011. So you can also tell that from the filming of it. It's definitely aged, but
right on.
I'm not so sure I would recommend it, but those aren't my type of movies.
Yeah, if you're like, they're not mine either. If I shouldn't say I would recommend it. If Hallmark is your, like, my wife would love this fucking movie. She would be all about it. She'd personally
have her popcorn and her hot chocolate or her coffee.
And the box of tissue
in the corner of the thing.
Yep.
I just can picture her. She's got muffins snuggled up next to her. The kids are in bed. She's happy.
It's Christmas. It was when it was Christmas. Every night that I came home, it was her watching a Hallmark movie, just sitting waiting up for me, and I'm all like, she's like, it's only got 20 minutes. I'll come to bed in a minute. I'm like, all right, I'm going to bed.
So in other words, you're saying I should get her next year for Christmas 1 year Hallmark Now.
Don't even think about it. I swear to God, I don't even think about it. The fact that we don't have a subscription is helpful, because I did like you did at the beginning, and I because we watched in season 3 we did watch some Hallmark movies. I had just subscribed, and then I forgot to take away the subscription, and those assholes are like, yeah, another one forgot, charge them. And I'm all like, shit. So I was like, well, I might as well do it. It's fine.
Well, luckily, it's only like $5 a month.
Yeah, it's not that big. Well, I think mine is like $7.99. I think it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's not.
I swore it was $5.99.
Maybe it is. I don't remember off the top of my head. It wasn't HBO Max or Netflix subscription.
Or Netflix. Shit.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. Which, and I don't know about you, but I get the non-ad one, because I don't want an ad.
I hate the ads.
Oh gosh, ain't that the worst?
No ads. I don't.
Okay.
All right. So now let's move on to our next segment. Now that we've sidetracked 47 times.
Oh my God, right? It's your fault.
All right. So what is your question today?
Okay, mine's pretty generic, but I just, since we both love Betty White, and who doesn't love Betty White, my question for you is, what is your favorite Betty White character? It can be from a movie or a TV show.
Okay. So I went with the character. It's not my favorite movie. If we were going with Betty White movies, it would have been completely different. But she has the best quote ever. Like, I use this all the time, and it's, if I had a dick, this is where I would tell you to suck it. Betty White says that, and I'm like, oh my God, amazing. So it's where she plays Mrs. Dolores Beckerman in Lake Placid.
Vetta, we are in the same boat, because that's my answer for this. I love it when she goes, I hope that crocodile chews your friends alive. I just love it because she's so sweet, but she's like feeding a giant fucking crocodile. People, pretty much.
More than one. They think
Yeah.
there's just one, and this whole time, because Betty White's been feeding them since they were babies.
Yeah.
She knows there's more than one. I
Yeah.
just love it. And when she looks at that officer and goes, "If I had a dick, this is where I would tell you to suck it." And I'm
Right
like,
on.
oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, she's great. I love Betty White. She's so great. You know she was fun on set on all those
Oh, I
movies.
also like her character in The Proposal because she totally fills up Sandra Bullock through the whole thing. She's like, "Where? Oh,
Oh, right on. Yeah, no. I love that. We should do that movie too. Anyways, well, we'll
yeah."
get to it at some point in time. Maybe we'll see. I don't
We'll
know.
see. It all depends on the themes we pick.
Yeah, it does. All right. What is your question?
Right. So if you have nothing else, then
No,
I
what's your
will.
question?
Oh, I didn't do my question.
You didn't
Oh,
do question. Blame
I'm
it
gonna
on the
take a drink, apparently.
alcohol.
Okay, so my question's a little bit more morbid than yours. So
Oh, look at
my
you.
question is, what is your favorite movie that is about a widow or a widower?
Okay, so this one, I sat and thought about this one because I was like, should I pick a widow or a widower? And I was like, I'm a dude, so I'll pick a widower. And I picked because I love this movie when I was growing up. It's called Karina. And yeah, it's so good. And I can't remember the little girl that's in it. I'm looking it up as we speak right now. But I just loved that movie so much because the main guy, he's like an ad person, whatever. What are those called that they make ads? It doesn't matter. Anyways,
An advertise agent?
yeah, we'll just say that. So
An ad agent. There we go.
I am too drunk for this
I
nonsense right
know
now.
you're asking. Words are hard.
Words are so hard. So it's got Ray Liotta in it and Whoopi Goldberg, and then the girl that played Tina Manjarno. I'm looking it up right now. I don't know how to say her last name. Anyways, so it's got Whoopi Goldberg, who is like the maid for this white guy and his little girl, whatever, and her name is Karina, and she just becomes their friend or whatever. And I just loved it growing up. Because Whoopi was like, "Hey, I'm Whoopi. I don't like Jews. Jews aren't people." I'm making fun of her because she's said a lot of controversial things lately. Anyways, but I just love that movie. I love it. And she was like a maid. And I remember one part in the movie. Okay, so the little girl, Molly, she goes, "I like cleaning things. I like making things shiny." I'm paraphrasing, by the way. And then Whoopi Goldberg's character, Karina, is all like, "I've lost the thrill." And I was like, "Ain't that the truth, honey? I fucking hate cleaning."
I got news for you. I never had the thrill.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
I didn't
Ain't that the
lose
truth?
it. So.
What is your answer to your question?
So I did the same thing as you. I went, oh, do I go widow or widower? And because I'm a female, I went widow only because I saw this movie and I went, I could connect with this because this is how I would be 152% if something happened to my husband. And I picked the movie starring Hilary Swank, P.S. I Love You.
Oh, right on.
And I'm going to Ireland in May, and I've already decided.
Lucky.
I know. I'm going with Lindsay.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, so when we go, we've already decided that we're gonna visit spots where some of our favorite movies were filmed, and I am going to try to find, like, when she's walking down the road with the sheep, which I'm sure that's like every
road
in Ireland. I don't know. But yeah, I'm like, I just go, that movie, I just love it because I'm pretty sure I would be the same way. You would have to dig me out of the hoarder's landfill of my home if something happened to my husband because I wouldn't know how to function.
Right on.
But I don't think I would be the person that would fall in love with somebody else. I think I'd be more like Betty White and be like, because I would compare everyone to my husband. I'm like, you're not good enough. He was way better. So yeah, that was my pick. So
right on. No, that's a good pick. That's a good pick.
Yeah. So all right. So if you've got nothing else you want to add,
I have nothing else to say.
All right. So thank you guys so much for listening. And if you are listening on Apple Pod, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast, if they have a rating system, please leave us a 5-star review. Or if they don't do stars, leave us an amazing review. We would really appreciate it. It truly does help out our smaller podcast. If you want to keep updated, follow us on Twitter at BS Drunk Pod. And if you watch our episodes on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and click on the little bell. It'll let you know when we have new episodes. Also, then click on the share button and let people know, because we do have a lot of people watching our episodes. You guys just aren't hitting that subscribe button. So we love you, and we want to see more of you or hear from you. So, and please feel free to leave anything in the comments, recommendations for themes, movies, whatever. And you can do that at YouTube BS Drunk Movie Reviews. And don't forget the most important thing, join us for a drink, recap, review, and repeat. Bye, guys.
Bye.